So here we're going to continue on with our livestock importance and what they do for us lesson. And we're really going to talk now about the importance of animal agriculture when it comes to money and the economy. So the biggest part of this is that it does provide a use of land and a couple other different resources, but primarily land. It does conserve the soil. So think about it this way. Crop agriculture, you plant crops in the ground, the crops grow on nutrients that are in the ground. How do nutrients get back into the ground? We put animals on it, they eat food, and their manure actually fertilizes that soil and returns the nutrients back to it. So it's actually conserving the soil. It does help provide jobs and increase the tax base, of course, because without animal agriculture, you don't have those jobs that are associated with it. So here are just some quick statistics on what the income is in North Carolina for a couple different livestock products. As far as generally speaking goes, the income from the livestock industry and also poultry is about twice that from all crops in North Carolina. So crop agriculture is about half of the moneymaker that animal agriculture is, at least in this state. Income from broilers is about $2.6 billion a year. Income from hogs is about $2.5 billion a year. We are primarily a broiler and hog state. And broilers are meat type chickens. So they are chickens that you will buy in the grocery store. They're not your egg layers, they are meat chickens. That's what they're raised for. Income from turkeys is about $775,000 a year, and then income from cattle is about $275,000 a year. You might see a lot of cattle in Johnston County, and we are a primarily cattle-driven county, but the income from cattle is not near as much as it is from hogs and broilers. But if you think about it, hogs and broilers also take less space to raise, so that might be part of it too. So North Carolina, last time I checked, and I haven't checked in a while, but last time I checked, North Carolina is about top 3. I think we're like 3rd in the production of hogs. I think we're like 4th or 5th in the production of turkeys and poultry. I could be wrong about that, but we are very close to the top. We're definitely top 10 producers as far as poultry, hogs, and turkeys. So this is kind of a graph to demonstrate a little bit about why animal agriculture is all of a sudden so important. Our crop agriculture in North Carolina really, the cash receipts from that, which is the money that we take in as a state from the production of crops and the products from crops, has dropped. Whereas the income from animals and the production of their products has actually increased in the past, not quite 100 years. So animal agriculture in North Carolina is really growing. So this is kind of interesting. So we are one of the top hog producing states, but the number of hog operations as a grand total in the United States is actually dropping quite drastically. The reason for this is that swine farms are getting fewer in number, but they are getting larger in the sense of they are producing more hogs. And the way that this happens is, let's say you've got 2 farmers on the same street. They're next door neighbors. You got Bob and Joe. Pretty stereotypical names, but there you go. Bob and Joe are both farmers. They're on the same road. They're right next door to each other. And Bob has 100 hogs and Joe has 100 hogs. So right now we've got 200 hogs, but we've got 2 different swine operations. Now, if Joe goes to Bob and he says, hey man, listen, I got an idea. Let's join up. We can share the profits of this. It'll be great. They join together. Now all of a sudden we still have 200 hogs, but we've got 1 operation instead of 2. So we have 200 hogs now with 1 operation as opposed to 100 hogs with 2 operations, each having 100 of them, if that makes sense. So this is a graph basically just showing a per capita consumption of different types of meat. So you've got beef, pork, chicken, and turkey. Turkey is kind of down there at the bottom, kind of the lowest. pretty much for the most part, you're buying your turkeys around Thanksgiving, and that's about it. But if you look at beef and pork, they have kind of the amount of beef and pork has kind of fizzled out a little bit, maybe you could say. Um, Whereas chicken, the consumption of chicken has actually increased, and that is due to health concerns. If any of y'all were around for the mad cow disease fiasco, and if you've ever heard that red meat is bad for you, that's because people are now trying to reduce the amount of red meat that they're eating, and they're supplementing that protein need with chicken. So generally speaking, most poultry are grown on contract. Same thing with swine or hogs. And what I mean by on contract is that the farmer has a contract with the meat processor or the packing plant or the slaughterhouse or whatever you want to call it, the place where they go to send off their animals for slaughter so that they can get packed into neat little packages and sent off to the grocery store. A lot of times the farmer has a contract with that packing plant, and that packing plant or packing company basically tells them, all right, we will guarantee we will purchase every single animal that you have, but this is the price that we want for them. So this is there's upsides and there's downsides to this. The biggest downside is that a lot of times those packing plants want those animals for a smaller amount of money than a farmer could get elsewhere. But the upside and the reason why a lot of these animals are sold on contract is that it's a guaranteed sale. Whereas you might could get a higher price for your animals elsewhere, but the likelihood of that and the likelihood that all of your animals will sell is lower. So you're guaranteed that all of your animals are going to sell. Might be at a slightly lower price, but you're going to get money for every single animal versus selling animals at a higher price, but you may not get paid for every single animal, if that makes sense. So a lot of times your hogs and your broilers are grown on contract. So this is a cool little chart. I like this one. So this is all of the cash receipts from livestock, dairy, and poultry in 2001. And if you look, so here's Wake County, and they're kind of in the 5 to $9.9 million range. Here's Johnston County. We're in the $50 million and up range. So we might be right outside of Wake County, but we produce significantly more animal products than Wake County does. It just kind of gives you an idea of where the animal agriculture is in North Carolina. Over towards the west, it's not as heavy into animals. They're heavier into crops out west. Whereas if you kind of get further east, you can see that there's actually more animal production going on over east. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. Email me, come talk to me, whatever. Otherwise, thanks for watching.